Okay, let's just get right into it. The god of dropshipping has spoken, and today we're basically channeling that divine judgment to figure out exactly why so many online stores never ever get off the ground.
And yeah, this is the harsh truth edition. We're not sugarcoating a single thing. We're going to look directly at the common pitfalls that turn these promising ideas into digital ghost towns.
All right, first up, let's get into the sins of first impression. These are the mistakes that lose you a customer before they've even had a chance to think about hitting add to cart. Oh man, this is probably the biggest one, the most common mistake of all. You're just scrolling through TikTok, you see some gadget go viral, and you think, that's it, that's my ticket to $1 million. But without any real research, you're just chasing a trend that's gonna die out in a week. And look, it's such a common trap, right? Your so-called research is just one viral video, but the reality, the actual demand for that thing, is totally flat. You just can't build a real business on a single moment of hype. You've got to validate your product idea with actual data. Okay, so let's just say by some miracle, you do pick a decent product. The very next hurdle is your website. And if a potential customer lands on your page and it's just a total disaster, all of that trust evaporates instantly. The failures are always in the little details. Blurry images, that just screams you don't care. A chaotic mix of like 17 different fonts, it looks so unprofessional. And don't even get me started on those bright neon blue buttons. They just shout scam. Every single one of these little things adds up, and it completely erodes customer trust, which is the absolute foundation of e-commerce. Okay, so you've got your product, you've got your store. What's next? Well, the next major failure point is marketing, or in a lot of cases, the complete lack of marketing. Just having a store isn't enough, you guys. You actually have to bring people to it. This one's a classic. You put in the absolute bare minimum of effort, maybe one single piece of content, and when it doesn't immediately blow up and make you thousands of dollars, what do? You blame some external force. You blame the algorithm. But let's have a reality check here. It's not the algorithm. The algorithm, it's designed to reward stuff like consistency, quality, and strategy. The one thing it absolutely doesn't reward is laziness. So blaming it, that's really just an excuse to avoid putting in the real work. So instead of just crossing your fingers and praying for sales, you have to learn the real skills of digital marketing. I'm talking about understanding how to write a hook that literally stops someone mid-scroll. It means learning how to run an ad campaign that's actually profitable, not just randomly boosting posts. You gotta define your audience and really dig into the psychology of what makes them buy. These are the skills that drive real growth. Okay, now we're gonna get into let's call them the deeper, less glamorous parts of the business. The stuff that happens after a customer clicks buy, and all that foundational work that, honestly, most beginners just completely skip over. And this one is huge. So many dropshippers find a cool product on a site like AliExpress, but they totally forget to think about the fact that it could take 3, 4, maybe even 5 weeks to get to the customer. I mean, come on, in an age where we all expect next-day delivery, that is an absolute eternity. This timeline, man, it just perfectly captures that customer's emotional roller coaster. They start out with that awesome dopamine hit when they buy something. But then, as the weeks drag on, that excitement, it turns into doubt. And then pretty soon, it's just frustration. People are buying instant gratification, not a lesson in patience. By the time the product finally shows up, they might already regret their purchase. And oh my gosh, let's talk about branding. For so many people, it's this flimsy 3-step joke. You're just using the same generic photos as like 100 other stores, slapping on some random logo you made in 5 minutes, and then you have the audacity to wonder why nobody's buying anything. There's no story, no identity, no reason for anyone to trust you. And really, that's the heart of the problem. Without a real brand, you're not building a loyal customer base. You're just a middleman for some generic product, you're forced to compete on price, and ultimately, you're just setting your customers up for disappointment. All right, this brings us to the final and honestly, the most important section of all. Because all of these failures we've talked about, the product choice, the messy store, the non-existent marketing, they all stem from one single fundamental problem: your mindset. So let's be crystal clear about this. Dropshipping is not some magic hack. It's not a get-rich-quick scheme. It is a business model. It's a form of e-commerce. And just like any other real business, it demands a foundation of actual real-world skills. You have to understand your numbers. I'm talking about calculating your real profit margins after all the fees. It means knowing your unit economics, like how much do you actually make on every single sale? You need to be tracking your return on ad spend, your ROAS, to make sure your marketing is actually making you money, not losing it. Seriously, these are not optional suggestions. They are the non-negotiable fundamentals of business. And what happens if you ignore these fundamentals? Well, your store is going to have absolutely no foundation. It's going to collapse under the slightest bit of pressure. It'll just flop. It's really as simple as that. So, at the end of the day, it really leaves you with a simple choice. You can come at this with that cheat code mindset, always looking for shortcuts and easy money, and I promise you, the result will be failure. Or you can adopt a real business mindset. Focus on learning the skills and providing actual value, and give yourself a genuine shot at surviving and maybe even thriving. All right, so here's your divine to-do list, straight from the top. Number 1, go. Fix your store. Make it look professional. Number 2, seriously improve your marketing hooks. And number 3, and this is the big one, stop treating this like a lottery ticket and start treating it like the real business it actually is. So ultimately, it all boils down to this one question. I want you to take a hard look at your strategy, your store, and your mindset, and ask yourself this. The answer you come up with, well, that's what's going to determine your fate.